All right. I'm going to double check here on YouTube again really quick to make sure we're actually streaming. And welcome to March 2022 update roundup. Okay, it looks like we're live.
Yeah.
I just got an email. Cool.
Awesome.
So welcome everybody. This is a March 2022 update roundup where we sort of share with you guys what we've been working on, both Kevin and I. And it's also a live session. So make sure you guys always join us. It's live every the first Thursday of every month, unless we change things up. And we did change things up this time around. It is a Tuesday, March 1st. But sometimes we have to reshuffle the schedule. So let's get started here as typical. Let me just share my screen here. Cool. All right. Let me find my screen. All right. So again, it's March 2022. This will be recorded, so you can watch this at a later time on our YouTube. So that's youtube.com/REI Conversion, or our Facebook group. That's facebook.com/groups/REI Conversion. As per usual, thank you, everybody. Thank you for the feedback. Thank you for those of you guys that are finding bugs for us. And thank you for those that are been supporting us. We've been on a couple podcast shows recently. And also to our guests who've been coming onto our podcast as well and sharing a lot of their experiences. So thank you very much for that. So let's jump right into the meat of things, what we've been sort of working on here behind the scenes. What's launching? Kevin, shall we do a rundown on this?
Yeah, let's we can just go through them one by one. So this has been a big month for us in terms of just adding a lot of sort of big things on the database side of things that are going to open up some really cool possibilities for us going down the road here. So I think what do you think, Jess? Should we just demo what we've got going on and we can talk about
let's
it?
do that.
Okay. So essentially everything that we've been working on centers around this notion of, and actually I should share my screen here. Hold on.
Yep. And I will pull that up here once you have that.
Oh, unable to share.
Oh,
please. Oh, hold on. How do I continue? Yeah. Hold on. Something changed here.
So we use a software called Restream.io, and there have been some major changes, and we have to sort of adjust to that. And actually, speaking about that, because there's going to be quite a big change within Pebble as well, and you'll see in the screen share here that hopefully Kevin can share. There's some things that you'll need to readjust for sure. Are you able to share your screen, or?
It says, please update system permissions to allow screen recording for the browser. Okay.
I guess in system preferences under accessibility, maybe.
Okay.
Well, I'll sort of go through these items on the screen first.
Sure.
So we've sort of have this. How do I break this down? But we're now able to manage contacts inside of Pebble. Before, there really wasn't a notion of being able to manage your contacts, whether they're buyers, seller, leads, whoever they are. There wasn't sort of a database. But setting that up will set up for a lot of different things. Again, we'll probably wait until Kevin shows that. But this also builds the underlying structure or foundation for how we're handling multi-property mailers. So a lot of times you're going to have a list where you have a seller with multiple properties. And the only way that we can really tackle this is now we're able to manage the contacts. We're able to manage the contacts. We can now see who is a so-called duplicate seller. Or somebody who owns multiple properties on that list. So again, building that out for managing contacts will now allow us to really tackle on handling multi-property mailers. and we're gonna dive into that. I'm gonna keep going on right now. Oh, are you
Yep.
able to?
Just 1 second here. Yeah,
No
keep
problem.
going, and I'll
Yeah.
I think I'll figure
Also,
it out.
we're making some readjustments with the way we're doing our mailers. Again, it is going to look a little bit different, but you're going to just be able to do a lot more. The next thing we're also going to be pushing out here is, I guess I don't know if this is the right term here, but natively supporting ranged offer pricing. So currently, you're setting up custom fields when we're doing a ranged offer. And for those of you guys who are not familiar with ranged offers, make sure you check out our classroom series that we did. If you head over to reiconversion.com, go to resources and classroom, there is a ranged offer webinar we did not too long ago with Travis King. A lot of people are moving that direction. So when we're doing ranged offers, we used to use custom fields. It wasn't really something that we built out for Pebble, but now we will also be able to accommodate for ranged offer pricing that will sort of be natively sort of built right into the way that campaigns work in the system. Okay.
I'm just gonna hop off here and hop right back on. I've got to
No
restart the
problem. No
browser.
problem. I'll keep going here for now.
Okay.
So the next thing here as well, I'm going to actually pull up the chat just to make sure that people do see us. And if you do see us, please make a comment in the chat so I can see. And also, I forgot to mention, if you have any questions, feel free to leave it. If you're on YouTube or Facebook, it should come through on here on our system to be able to see those questions and comments, okay? The next thing here, the numeric only property code. So we got a lot of requests throughout the months that alphabets can be a little bit difficult to pronunciate or people may misinterpret those. So now we are shifting over to numeric only property codes. Now Pebble is still going to generate those property codes. It is going to be handled on our end of generating those codes. So, but we will be moving to numeric only. Hey, Kevin, you're back.
I'm back, and I think we're in business here.
Sweet. Yes, I do see your screen.
I love
This
how
infinite loop
Chrome.
here.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. Yeah, it seems like
All
Chrome
right.
will just randomly update, and you have to restart it
Right.
for it to let you share your screen again. Okay, but I think we've got it. Okay. So yeah, let's go through those things that Jesse just mentioned and sort of a demo, and we can show you how all these things work. So the biggest change here is the campaign screen, or the process of doing campaigns. So I'll walk you through here. So let's create a new campaign. And so this is really targeting those people who have owners who might own multiple properties. So personally for me, like when I'm pulling my list from data tree, there's that option where you can check the box that says remove duplicate owners. And I've always checked that box because I don't want to be sending multiple letters to the same person. But then that gave me the problem where when a lead comes in, I've only if somebody calls me who say maybe owns multiple properties, but I only know about the one property because I asked data tree to remove the duplicate owners. I don't necessarily know that that person owns multiple properties unless they tell me. So we're going to solve all of that with this new campaign screen. So let's walk through this. So we're going to call this, let's call this multi-property campaign. And we'll select our list. In this case, I've got one here in Arizona. We'll grab this list here. So if I can actually show this list here. Let's just take a preview here. So this list now includes some duplicate owners.
We can't see your list. I think you're only sharing Chrome, which is fine. I think if you just go to the next screen, we'll be able to see that,
so
right?
We'll just upload this, and then...
So essentially on that CSV, yeah, you have that same seller or property owner a few times on that CSV file.
Yes, exactly. So this CSV has rows that are duplicates. So there's basically, it'll say, this Abraham and Stella Neva, maybe they own 3 properties. So they've got like 3 rows of the same address, but the mailing address is the same, but they own multiple properties. So now Pebble is going to be smart about this and be able to pull this in. Another thing that I'll point out too is our native support now for ranged offers. So
Yes. Yeah.
we've always had this single mailer price for those who are just doing a single blind offer. We're now adding this secondary mailer price. So we'll see that on the next screen, but that will bring in your ranged offers and make those visible right on the campaign there. Okay, so let's go ahead and import this list. Everything's good there. So we'll click View Campaign. And this is where the big changes are coming. So you can now see that so that Pebble figured out that these people own multiple properties. So this Alfred Sloan person was duplicated 5 times in my CSV. So he has 5 properties. So we pulled that in as a 5. So that Alfred Sloan person now owns 5 properties. And we can now know that this person, when they come in as a lead, it owns all of these properties. And maybe I can make him an offer based on a portfolio that he owns. So I can ask him for everything. So a few things to notice here. We've got the screen has changed a little bit so that we now have numeric property codes. So these codes will be unique to every account. So every mailer that you send will get a unique code. And those codes are going to be all numeric, whereas before we had letters and numbers. And sometimes they would it's hard to translate those when especially if you're working with, say, Pat Live or something. Sometimes they would get copied down incorrectly, and so your properties didn't get assigned correctly. So now everything is numeric. That should make things a lot easier going forward here. Okay, so everything other than sort of the changes on this multi-property process here should work the same. So you can go ahead and activate your campaign. That will go out with the property code. And now let's take a look over on the seller side when leads start coming in and how that looks different. So let me just pretend that, let's see here. Let's just grab this Alfred guy here. So Alfred Sloan, let's pretend he's going to give me a call in a few weeks here after he gets his letter. And he's asking me, hey, I got your letter and I want to start doing the process. So typically what I do is go over here to my seller board, and we'll go in here and add a seller. Now this is what has changed here. So I've got now a search contacts feature. So if I type in that guy's name, so I'll just type in Alfred Sloan here, and you can see that we get him pulled up right away here. So I've got Alfred Sloan, and then it shows all the properties that he owns. So just as we had there, and I can actually show. So as I type this in, this will show me all of my contacts. This is everybody I've ever sent a mailer to and their properties. And then in this case, we've got Alfred Sloan and his 5 properties. So I'll go ahead and select Alfred there. And then I also need to give this card a name. So we'll just call Alfred from Arizona. Put him in the lead in stage. Now I can also go ahead and create a new contact. If it's just a cold call that I've never mailed to and I don't have them, I can create a new contact. But in this case, we have him already in our list. So we'll just assign him there. We'll click save here. And we've got the new seller record, and you can see that we've automatically pulled in all of his properties into this seller. And so we can see the offer prices that we've given him, the different mail. If we've sent multiple mailers, we'll know that we've sent multiple mailers to the same person. And then we've got this person ready to go with our portfolio. So we can now start doing due diligence on each one of his properties and decide how we're going to move forward with that. If we're going to continue purchasing all the properties, if he just wants to sell one or two, we can sort of filter out these properties and continue processing this lead in that way.
Mhm.
Anything you'd like to add there, Jesse?
No, when you were offline, we sort of ran through those items there. There's just a lot of changes on how we're handling this. And I see, Mal, you do have some questions. We're going to address those at the end of all of this. But yeah, if you are a little bit concerned about the changes in campaign, if you want to join me every Friday, don't forget, I do a mailing demo religiously every Friday. As long as I'm alive, I'm going to try to be there. That is at 2 p.m. Pacific and 5 p.m. Eastern. So you can always find that if you head over to our resources under our webpage, and then the mailing demo, you can join us live on there. I get to hang out with you guys and answer questions. So we will be going through this again. We'll talk about leads as well if needed, but we'll definitely go through the campaign. So I think we'll have our resources ready to kind of make sure that you guys get understand the changes here.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right, so I'm gonna go back to the slides here. Oops, and I kind of took us out here. How do I? Let's see here. Maybe take this one out. Here we go. All right. And then what's coming up ahead here? So a few items. Because we're now managing contacts, right, Kevin? We can now mark people as do not mail. I know this has been a highly requested feature, but there was actually a lot of underlying work that needed to be done to actually even make this happen. I think a lot of people didn't realize that, but there was a lot that had to be built out in order to actually address this request. Next one here, something I'm a huge advocate for: A/B test campaigns or split testing on your mailers. This is something that we're going to be working on. I talk a lot about this. You never know how your mailers are doing or how you can actually improve on your response rates, which we do capture for inside of Pebble, unless you're actually split testing. And if you're not split testing, you're really, you're missing a huge opportunity, because we've seen some people go from, a 0.5 all the way to 3 or 4. It is huge, and it does make a big difference. I know a lot of us are told, this is the golden template, or do not use windowed envelopes. I urge you to take a step away from that and actually split test, because you will be shocked. A lot of people say, don't use postcard. Well, I'm doing postcards. So, and there are a lot of people that are doing postcards as well. So make sure you are split testing, and we're going to make that a lot easier. You can actually do that right now. You just chop your list in half and create 2 separate campaigns, right? But what we're going to do is make that even easier for you guys to run split tests. That way you get data, and with data, you can then make your decision on which way you'd like to go. When you know that a certain version of your letter performs better, to follow the next mailing campaign you're going to use is that one versus another version. And that's how we continue to optimize on our mailing. Okay. A big one here. We are doing a big rebrand and redesign for the entirety of the Pebble app and our brand as well. So we're spending a lot of time on the interface, the user experience. We are really, really excited about this, but we're going to be really focusing on this the next couple months here. Finally, we do have classroom series lined up. I'm really excited about the next one we're going to be doing with Jaren. I won't share what it is, but stay tuned. Check your newsletters. We are going to be doing a completely free classroom series, as we always do, from a few times a year type of thing. So, I'm really excited to be working with Jaren on this one. And some of you guys may know Jaren over from RE Tipster podcast, who works over there with our good friend Seth Williams. He is going to be doing that with me. All right. So we've saved some time for question and answers here. I'm going to pull up the questions here, and we've got a small live viewing here right now. But Mal here asks, can we get a date stamp for when the lead initially comes in, so we can get a timeline from lead into sell of property, or is there one that I don't know of and I don't know where to find it?
Yeah, let me pull this up here. So anytime you create a seller or a buyer record, it will give you this date stamp here. So it will tell you when that seller came in with this created
Mhm.
date here, and then whenever it's updated. So anytime you change something on this lead, it'll give you this updated timestamp. So that is where you can find those pieces of information. We are also, as Jesse mentioned, we're doing a sort of a reorganization of some screens. And one thing that I would really like to do is put in more of like a timeline of everything on
Yeah.
your property records. So yes, we will try to pull those sort of time stamped events that happen on the property. So that'll be coming.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, Mel has another question here. Getting a total. Oh, okay. Getting a total number of days.
So that would be
Um,
like from when you purchased, or from when your seller came in to when you sell it.
Purchased.
And
Okay.
Mal, as just to clarify too, when you go into your property record, anytime you create an offer or mark the property as purchased or sold, those
Yes.
dates are captured, and every mailer that you send. So in this case, if I had sent these are some test mailers, but if I had sent these, you would see the date go there, and then if I say market as purchased, we'll just call this $1,000 here. It will capture those dates as well as marking it as sold. So let's say I sell it a month later and I sell it for 2,000. That will all be captured. So you'll be able to see quickly from each property when you purchased and when you sold, and be able to see what your number of days there. We're gonna
Yeah,
also try to make that more
I
prominent
always
as well.
sort of describe that as a bit of a timeline on that property record, so you can always pull it up there.
Mhm.
Mal, another question. Thanks for all the questions here. Will this show up for portfolio campaigns already sent out? Um,
So
I mean,
yes, you will be able to we'll have to figure out, basically, the campaigns that already exist will look the way they do. So so you'll be able to see there that you have the the each individual mailer. We may just leave them as is, so you would see the duplicate owners if you're doing the portfolio where you're sending each mailer individually. And then this may just affect the future mailers that you do that have multiple owners. We'll have to figure that out.
yeah,
But we'll make it a smooth path so that you won't have to worry about anything.
yeah, yeah. Awesome. I'm gonna double check here if we have any questions on the Facebook side of things, because it's telling me that Facebook isn't bringing in the comments. No, looks like we're good on the Facebook side of things. Cool. All right. Well,
Good to know.
yeah. Thanks for everybody to coming out to this update roundup for March 2022. If you always want to see what's going on, you can check. If you go to resources and under upcoming events, you'll be able to see when our upcoming um, update roundups are. And oh, looks like we have another question here by Mel. Why don't we answer this one here? Is there any
Sure.
way to download the data from Pebble into a spreadsheet so we can slice and dice? We can look at KPI metrics we have designed as in Power BI.
I think that's a Microsoft product or something. So yes, you can go to your property page and export all your property data, which will include um, information about your mailers and a few things like that. We're working on adding some additional exports, so you can export your leads and tie those together. There's a lot of it's when dealing with spreadsheets. There's a lot of nuance there because it's hard to we have like different records that are associated with multiple things. So it's a little bit more tricky than just downloading a single CSV file. But we will be adding those things. But I would check out our knowledge base. We do have articles on how to export your property data from Pebble as well.
And Mal, if you have something you want to see on your dashboard where we do surface some metrics on there, do let us know.
Yeah, we are actively planning on adding some additional KPIs. So
Yeah.
let us know what you would like to see, and maybe we can work those into the product.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you very much for joining us for this month's update roundup. Yeah, like I said, we'll be around every Friday to do the mailing demo, so you can always join me on there. Other than that, have a great evening, and thanks again, Kevin.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks,
All right.
everyone.
See you guys.
See you next
Bye.
month.